From the news cottage of the Brush Communications Network, Brush FM 94.7 megahertz. This is Brush News Watch. 45 minutes of accurate, balanced, and concise news forming about Liberia, Africa, and our world. Today is Wednesday, July 7, 2021. The story stopping news watch. His Excellency Dr. George Balenwea appoints Mr. Monin Arrow Captain as chairman of the board of directors of the Liberia Electricity Corporation, LEC. Grand Bassa County Superintendent John J. Bagwell condemns recent violent action that erupted as a result of a motorcyclist being stabbed to death in Buchanan City amid growing tension. Bone County of Tame reports 60 cases of COVID-19 with at least 15 recoveries. And the foreign news, Haiti's President Jovenel Moise has been killed and his wife injured in an attack on their home in the nation's capital, Port-au-Prince. I'm James Yagerson, fronting tonight. But first, the latest from the news center with Joshua Wright.
The President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Dr. George Weah, has appointed Mr. Moni R. Captain as chairman of the board of directors of the Liberia Electricity Corporation, the LEC. Mr. Captain was appointed early Wednesday by the Liberian chief executive. His appointment takes immediate effect. The sixth graduating class of the Nimba County Community College, the NCCC, has besieged the main campus of the college in Saniquale for what is called the alleged failure of the university's administration to address several key demands by them. According to our rural broadcast chief, graduating class has had early on putting forth several key demands, but the administration headed by its president, Dr. Edward Lama Wonkiyo, has failed to address the demands. Among them are the reduction of fees from US $125 to US $76, reduction in the exchange rate of the university, the appointment of new board members, and increment in janitors and security salaries. The students said Dr. Wonkoya has appointed his wife as the head of security of the university. Currently, janitors and security at the university earn 70 United States dollars as monthly take-home salaries. Responding to some of the allegations, Dr. Wonkeyo admitted that the board of the university has overstayed, but efforts have been made to have a new board members before the next commencement convocation that is slated for August 5 of this year. He said a letter has been written to the Nimba County Legislative Caucus, and they have told him that new board members will be appointed before August. On the issue of appointing his wife, Dr. Wonkoya denied over appointing his wife as head of security of the university, but said his wife sometimes helps some workers in his office. The protest has lasted for 3 weeks, but the protesting students have relaxed their actions, and the campus of the university is being guarded by riot police of the Liberian National Police. Grand Bassa County Superintendent John J. Bape had condemned recent violence action that erupted as a result of a motorcyclist being stabbed to death in Buchanan City. The recent Grand Bassa County Superintendent condemns comes in the wake of a recent violence that led to the stabbing of a motorcyclist by a notorious criminal only identified as Triple Two, and the burning of a citizen home in New Buchanan community. Superintendent Bakbe, however, discouraged citizens' involvement in mob violence in Grand Bassa, thus encouraging Liberians to take advantage of the rule of law in seeking redress. Meanwhile, the Bassa superintendent is calling on Liberian National Police to arrest all those involved, with a call to citizens to aid the police identifying alleged perpetrators of the crime. Superintendent Bape further stated that the act of violence would discourage investors and as well undermine the peace and stability of the country, thus encouraging his countrymen to do everything possible to discourage such acts. He asserted at a press conference held at his office in Buchanan City recently. Bond County has recorded 60 positive cases of the novel coronavirus COVID-19. The county health officer has told this station, speaking via mobile phone from Bond County Tuesday, Dr. Jonathan Flomo said patients showing signs and symptoms of the virus are being placed under intense care with some under oxygen. The Bond County CHO asserted that, the, that at least 15 persons have been discharged from the treatment unit, and the county has also recorded 12 deaths since the second outbreak of the coronavirus in the county. Dr. Flomo used the occasion to inform the public that current has the county currently has one of the functional treatment units in the country. He said those that are being discharged were monitored for 7 to 10 days and that the signs and symptoms were resolved and they were retested and proven negative of the virus. Dr. Jonathan Flomo is meanwhile calling on the public to take advantage of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine in order to protect themselves from the virus. Studies are proving that those who take the vaccine have a stronger resistance and cannot easily fall prey to the virus. The Bond County CHO spoke in an interview with Brush FM via mobile phone. As the fight against COVID-19 intensifies in Liberia, a non-profit organization, Eve Grace Scholastic Initiative, is expected to train over 200 young people across the country in COVID-19 awareness. Speaking in a Brush FM interview in Monrovia, the county representative of Eve Grace Scholastic Initiative, Daniel Dennis, disclosed that about 200 young people from across the 15 political subdivisions of Liberia will form part of the 2 days training on Zoom geared to providing them insights on COVID-19 awareness. Daniel Dennis added that the 2 day training will provide young Liberian volunteers the opportunity to create awareness on COVID-19 in their respective counties. He intoned that at the end of the training, participants will be provided materials like nose masks, hand sanitizers, gloves, among others, to enable them to carry out their awareness. At the same time, the Eve Grace Scholastic Initiative country representative is calling on citizens of Liberia to go and get vaccinated. According to Daniel, there have been some myths in the communities that when one gets vaccinated, will live for 2 years. Something he said is false and misleading and is only meant to bring chaos in the country. He used the occasion to warn those in the constant habit of misleading the public on the vaccine to disease. Former Bowman County Senator Sanu Johnson is calling on citizens of the county to join the fight against COVID-19. Bowman County former Senator Sanu Johnson is appealing to every citizen of Bowman County and those living in the diaspora to join the fight against the COVID-19 by creating public awarenesses, financially contributing to the county's health team. Speaking on Spoon Talk Monday's edition in Monrovia, the former Bowman County Senator added that the fight against COVID-19 requires a holistic approach, therefore encouraging citizens of Bowman County living in the diaspora to join the process. He lauded the efforts of Puma FM and Radio Bowman for the constant awareness being carried out in educating the citizens of Bowman County. At the same time, former Senator Sanu Johnson has commended Senator Edwin Melvin Snow for contributing immensely to the county's health team in combating the human killer disease. It can be recalled Senator Edwin Melvin Snow publicly announced making available his June salary and benefits to the Bowman County leadership to help combat the virus. As calls for the establishment of water economic crimes courts intensifies in the country, a human rights advocate, Adamant Dempster, has called on the international community to speedily help set up the court. In an interview with the station, Secretary General of the Civil Society and Advocacy Platform says the only way total peace can come to Liberia is when those who committed hideous crimes and brought to the book to pay for their actions. He said it was now time to end the culture of impunity in the country. Mr. Dempster said it was unthinkable for those who allegedly committed hideous crimes to be in leadership in the country with no one showing signs of remorse for their actions. He asked those opposing the establishment of the court in the country to rethink, as no post-war nation has ever had peace and genuine reconciliation in the absence of justice. The African Traditional Justice Campaigner has called on all Liberians to fully support the establishment of the court in the country. Mr. Dempster spoke in an interview with the station recently. And as a means of curtailing the new strain of the COVID-19 in Liberia, the Monrovia City Corporation Mayor Jefferson Tamakoji is encouraging Liberians to keep wearing nose masks in order to be safe. Speaking to newsmen at the Ominga community, Mayor Koji indicated that the government of Liberia is sensitizing citizens to be aware of the danger of the virus. The city mayor further stressed that the new strain of the COVID-19 is a war that Liberians need to cooperate in fighting from the country. The CDC Youth Wing Chair, however, cautioned citizens to follow health protocols, adding that government cannot fight the deadly virus alone. The city mayor is calling on media practitioners to help with proper information dissemination as the fight against the COVID-19 strain continues. He spoke during a visit to the Ominga community in Painesville, Liberia. Back to you, James, for the continuation of Brush News Rush.
Well, congratulations to Joshua Wright for the news bulletin here on Newswatch tonight. Let's begin lifting our top stories. Controversial Nima County Senator Prince Johnson has resigned his post as chairman of the Senate Security and Defense Committee following misreaction since a senator to that leadership committee. Our colleague Jeremy Waters has the rest of this development.
First, as chairman of the Nigerian Senate Security and Defense Committee, following controversial office election as chairman of the Senate Defense Committee, ex-warlord Prince Johnson resigned his post late Tuesday, citing that his decision was prompted by his attempt to focus on his re-election in 2023 and the United States Embassy refusal to cooperate with the committee. However, records show that the U.S. Embassy near Monrovia struck as disappointment regarding the senator's election and emphasized that they could not comply with the Senate committee as long as Senator Johnson remains the head. Upon his resignation, current Lafayette County Senator Steve Zager of Labour Party was replaced as the new Senate Committee Chair on Security, while Senator Johnson has been given another appointment to serve as a member on various Means, Finance, and Budget Committee at the level of the Nigerian Senate. Washington News, I'm Jeremy Edwards.
Bond County has recorded 60 positive cases of the novel coronavirus COVID-19. The county of officers told the station. Speaking via mobile phone from Bond County Tuesday, Dr. Jane Flomo said patients showing signs and symptoms of the virus have been placed on intense care with some on oxygen. The Bond CHU asserted that at least 15 persons have been discharged from the treatment unit, and the county have also recorded 12 deaths since the second outbreak of the virus in the country. Dr. Flomo spoke of our reporter via telephone.
we have had a functional corona treatment unit where our case management team have been working so hard since the outbreak. We have had about 31 inpatients, and of those numbers, we initially discharged the first 13 patients who were confirmed of COVID-19 and then treated. There were 3 of them on oxygen, and we managed to get them 2, so they were discharged already. And today, there are 5 persons pending their second test results so that they can also be discharged. So these are people that have been monitored. So we monitor their signs and symptoms to see whether they have been resolved, and within 7 to 10 days, we do the test based on the signs and symptoms that they presented with. So all of those people have gone within the period of 7 to 10 days, and their symptoms have resolved, so they were retested. We have recorded 16 confirmed cases of COVID-19, and we have been working with our laboratory team. So initially, what we have done was to do rapid testing for those who were contact, those who were presenting with signs and symptoms, so that we can have them on our own watch while we're waiting the error results. So most of those who came positive were people who are already on our watch, because we tend to break this transmission through early detection of the disease, and those who are positive and showing signs and symptoms, we can isolate them from the rest of the population, see them so that they can be treated. These ideas are just something you can do to break this. So for the treatment unit, we have had 3 deaths occurring in the treatment unit, and we have had 8 deaths occurring outside of the treatment unit. And although 8 deaths, there have been 4 of them confirmed by PCR that they were positive case of COVID-19, and the rest of them they were tested in the.
Well, that's the voice of Bond County Health Officer Dr. Jonathan Flomover speaking of our report of our telephone from Banga, Bond County. Grand Bassa County Superintendent Janji Bagwe condemns recent violence action that erupted as a result of a motorcyclist being stabbed to death in Buchanan City. The Grand Bassa County Superintendent condemnation comes in the wake of recent violence that led to the stabbing of motorcyclists by a notorious criminal only identified as Trooper 2 in the burning of the citizen home in the known Buchanan community. Superintendent Bagwe have ever discouraged citizens involved in mob violence in Grand Bassa, thus encouraging Liberians to take advantage of the rural law in seeking redress. He addressed a press conference following the incident.
I call you this morning, firstly, to condemn the mob actions and the preceding violent actions on yesterday in Buchanan, Grand Bassa County. We want to condemn the stabbing of a motorcyclist by a man to be identified as Trooper 2 allegedly stabbed a motorcyclist. We regret that situation as a county, and we will not condone any act of violence in this county. We also want to call on the Liberia National Police, the Joint Security Forces, in making sure that they arrest the man to be identified as Trooper 2, prosecuted to the court of competent jurisdiction. We don't want this fight to keep being in the corridor of our county as we encourage investors to come invest in this county, the funds of our people. We also want to call on the Liberia National Police to invite and arrest all the motorcyclists that were on the scene for the burning down of a citizen home in the Buchanan community. These acts of violence undermine the peace and stability of the country at large, and we need to do everything possible to discourage these things from happening in the community or in our county. We as citizens should be on our obligation to report any of these things to state security forces or to county leadership in making sure that we mitigate this problem. The burning down of a citizen home because somebody was stabbed is not a way of getting justice. Anyone who is caught in more violence in this country will be penalized by the court of competent jurisdiction. Prosecuted, will be taken to court, and
Grand Bassa County Superintendent Janji Bagwe there condemning recent violence that erupted as a result of a motorcyclist being stabbed to death in Buchanan City. Former Bomi County Senator Sano Johnson is calling on citizens of the county to join the fight against COVID-19. Speaking on the Spawn Talk edition, the former Bomi County Senator, added that the fight against COVID-19 can only be successful if everyone, including citizens of Bomi County who are living the diaspora, join the process. Senator Sano Johnson appealed to every citizen of Bomi County and those living in the diaspora to join the fight against COVID-19 by creating public awareness and financially contributing to the county's health team.
And so all of those things were put into consideration individually. some of the leaders, current guys, we have to move from time to time now and start to educate our people. Once that education is provided to them, wash your hands, wear your nose mask, avoid not together, avoid the sick of him. Not that too many persons come in. We need to, that information need to be told that to them. Both electronic and blind and anything.
Well, Sando Johnson is Palmer County for former senator. Of course, he aimed there encouraging citizens of Palmer County living in Liberia and those in the diaspora to join the fight against COVID-19 by creating public awareness and financially contributing to the county's health theme. At the same time, former Senator Sando Johnson has commended Senator Edwin Melvin Snow for contributing immensely to the county's health team in fighting the hemorrhagic disease.
I didn't know where she. And then when he answered my call, he said, "Oh, I'm in Banjul, Abidjan, Banjul." And my words to him, I said, "Look, let's take this coronavirus. Let today I shank."
Well, that's the voice of former Palmer County Senator Sando Johnson there, commending Senator Edwin Melvin Snow for contributing immensely to the county health team in fighting the hemorrhagic disease, coronavirus. And that's former Senator Sando Johnson was calling on citizens of the county to join the fight against COVID-19. If you just join us, indeed, you are listening to Newswash on the Brush Communication Network, Brush FM 94.7 MHz. 45 minutes of accurate, balanced, and concise news forming about Liberia, Africa, and as well. Still stopping Newswash tonight, His Excellency Dr. George Bonawea appoints Mr. Rodin Arrow-Carton as Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Liberia Electricity Corporation, LEC. Grand Bassa County Superintendent John J. Papaya condemns recent violence that erupted as a result of a motorcyclist being starved to death in Buchanan City amid growing tension. Bon County of Team reports 60 cases of COVID-19, over at least 15 recoveries. And Haiti's President Jovenel Moïse has been killed and his wife injured and attacked on their home in the nation's capital, Port-au-Prince. At this juncture, we take a break to be right back over our foreign news.
Welcome back. I'm Joshua Wright with the foreign news. Haiti's President Jovenel Moïse has been killed and his wife injured in an attack on their home in the nation's capital, Port-au-Prince. That's unidentified gunmen stormed the property at 1 o'clock local time, 5 p.m. GMT. Interim Prime Minister Claude Joseph said he has called for calm and declared a state of emergency nationwide. Mr. Moïse had led Haiti, one of the poorest nations in the world, since 2017, but has faced widespread protests demanding his resignation. The nation's recent history has been plagued by coups, political instability, and widespread gang violence. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson tweeted that he was saddened at the death of Mr. Moïse calling it an abhorrent act and appealing for calm. U.S. President Joe Biden offered condolences to the people of Haiti for the horrific assassination. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has filed a lawsuit against tech giants Google, Twitter, and Facebook, claiming that he is a victim of censorship. The class action lawsuit was target the three. The class action lawsuit also targets the three companies' CEOs. Mr. Trump was suspended from the social account in January over public safety concerns in the wake of the Capitol riots led by his supporters. On Wednesday, Mr. Trump called the lawsuit a very beautiful development for our freedom of speech. In a news conference from his golf resort in Bedminster, New Jersey, Mr. Trump railed against social media companies and Democrats who he accused of exposing misinformation. We are demanding an end to the shadow ban, a stop to the silencing, and a stop to the blacklisting, banishing, and canceling that you know so well, he said. The suit requests a court order to end alleged censorship. Mr. Trump added, if they could ban a president, they can do it to anyone. Thousands of opposition protesters have rallied in Ghana's capital, Accra, demanding justice for victims of recent killings. It follows the murder of social media activist Ibrahim Muhammad by unknown assassins and the death of two protesters after a clash with security personnel. The BBC's Ghana correspondent Thomas Nandi reports. Clad in red and black outfits, and demonstrators, many of whom were members of the largest opposition National Democrat Congress Party, accused the government of failing to act. Since the government came into office, there has been instances of arbitrary killing in our country, most of them perpetrated by the ruling government valiant forces, one reporter told the BBC. President Nana Akufo-Addo has ordered a public inquiry into the death of two protesters, but the concern has been recommendations of inquiries into similar circumstances have not been fully implemented, our correspondent says. A former police captain who promises to be tough on crime has been declared the winner of the race to pick a Democrat candidate to be New York City Mayor. Eric Adams, currently borough president of Brooklyn, is now likely to become the city's second black leader. The winner of the party's primary is all but certain to become mayor in the heavily Democratic city. Police figures last month shows crime in the city rose by 22% in the past 12 months, and shootings were up 73%. The Republican candidate in November's general elections will be Curtis Sliwa, founder of the Guardian Angels, an unarmed civilian patrol group known for their rare berets. Mr. Adams, 60, is a moderate Democrat who denounced the defund police movement during the campaign. On the stump, he sought to thread a fine line between promising to reform the New York Police Department, the NYPD, and keeping New Yorkers safe from crime. He was declared the winner on Tuesday's evening by the Associated Press, a news agency that tracks vote counts in the U.S. national, state, and local elections. Well, James, that does it for our foreign developments.
Congratulations to Joshua Wright for bringing us the latest news from as well. Well, let's continue taking our futures, of course. We'll go straightly to the passion decks. Wow, man, Ezekiel Menemuno is posted this evening to bring us the latest from the water sports. Ezekiel, good evening.
Good evening, James Jefferson Fopper, and good evening to our listening audience. Gambian coach Tafa Mane has been unveiled as the men's under 20 head coach by the Liberia Football Association. Mane, who last coached Leicester FC in the Orange First Division, was unveiled at a news conference at the Examination Hall of Liberian Football (ATS) on 7 July. The Liberia Football Association Secretary General Isaac Montgomery said the Gambian who signed a 2-year deal has two mandates, which include qualifying the Lone Star to the next Under 20 African Cup of Nations final and the Under 20 World Cup finals. Egypt and Indonesia will host the Under 20 African finals and World Cup finals in 2023, the draw and qualifying rounds respectively. And Maribaro midfielder Amon Damoyu is positive about the Cayenne Pepper Boys' quest to sign or win the upcoming Orange First Division League 2021-2022. According to the former Bombing County National County Sports Meet winner, the club is ongoing with preparation ahead of the new league season. A promising young Liberian player, Mohamed Brown, has called on athletes in the country to stay focused in their career as the nation fights to combat the new variant of the COVID-19 pandemic. Speaking via mobile phone to our reporter, the 16-year-old left back of Grand Cape Mountain Division SARS, Spartan FC, noted that despite the prevailing health situations, it is important for athletes to continue their self-training in order to remain at the top level. In a related development, Brown's contract at the Matamo Base Club is expired after 2 stints and is on the verge of joining another club if a suitable deal works out. And just before going the European Championship 2020 is one apiece between England and Denmark. And in the Copa America, Argentina will face Brazil at the Maracana on 10 July. And it's back to Eugene Jacobson Football for the continuation of Rush New Watch.
Thank you, Ezekiel Menemuno, for the Passion of Last Sports tonight on News Watch. Well, let's take our final development. The 6th graduating class of the Nima County Community College and C has besieged the main campus of the college in Sanikore for what it calls the alleged failure of the university's administration to address several key demands by them. According to our Rural Brookhouse chief, graduating class had head on put forth several key demands, but the administration, headed by its president, Dr. Edward Laban Wankoya, has failed to address those demands. Among them are the reduction of fees from US $125 to US $75, reduction in the exchange rate of the university, the appointment of new board members, and the increment in janitors and security salaries. The student said that Wankoya has appointed his wife as the head of security of the university. We have an excerpt.
As well as key of the supported by students of the graduating class with the need for the school in the manner vernacular which means our time. You know, the three protest action was triggered by the alleged failure of the administration of the college to address some of the needs it suffers in recent times. For example, the students have been demanding reduction in the fee the semester from US $125 to $76. The minimum estimation was once immediately established by the government in 2003 in a state to digital special education methods like Nigeria. So it is possible in a voluntary report to President Lula declaration in 2018 when he took over the presidency and the previously tuition at public universities across the country. So the students are demanding that ensure the administration doesn't going to pay $125 as fee per semester, the which is usually $76 per semester. There are also the main increments in janitors and security salaries. For example, there are men and women working in the public college and they make maximum US $60. And according to them, this is a violation of practice because to work for $70 in this economy, this economy receives this as a student or their mother, the father who are working in the university as janitors in security. There are also the many statements of fees making government approved exchange rate foreign the rest of team. And then the protected team went on further to refuse the president of the county that the federal administrator of metropolitan, according to the claim, the leader has appointed his wife as head of the security department, and this is something that is all the business, and they want the president to immediate effect must judge the comments of his wife as well as the security department. Yesterday was the center of the same protest, and on the two of the same protest, the center of the county media press conference to respond to allegations by the claim. And in response, the claims were actually protesting after the government pressure. The never had to make comments that any other institutions have rules and regulations and government. So the students want to protest, or whatever the students want to do, it should be in compliance with the university structure.
Well, that's the voice of PMR Rural Director of Operations, Augustine Dam, filling us in with that development. You hear him, the sixth graduating class of the Nima County Community College, the NCCC, has besieged the main campus of the college in San Equator for what it calls the alleged failure of the university's administration to address several key demands by them. Well, with that story, that's how we come to the end of Newswatch. Newswatch returns at 6 a.m. with more captivating stories. Before we go, let's recap today's top stories. His Excellency Dr. George Bonawea appoints Mr. Morning Arrow Captain as chairman of the board of directors of the Liberia Electricity Corporation, LEC. Ren Bassa County Superintendent John J. Bagwell condemns recent violent action that erupted as a result of a motorcyclist being starved to death in Buchanan City amid growing tension. Bond County Health Team reports 60 cases of COVID-19 of at least 15 recoveries. And Haiti's President Jovenel Moise has been killed and his wife injured in an attack on their home in the nation's capital, Port-au-Prince. Thanks for listening. Our colleague Joshua Wright brought us the news bulletin presented our foreign news. Ezekiel Manimula was here with the Passion of Last Post. And thanks to Louis Falabueman, who sat at controls and ably coordinated the presentation. Many thanks to all of our reporters and correspondents who made this edition of the presentation a success. I'm James Yagerson Fogba, anchored. Good night.